Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to do probably our very last video here in chapter 3. I'm not in the student journal today. There really wasn't any good graphing problems in there to go over. So if you just have a spare piece of graph paper, or you want to just kind of copy it down somewhere in your notebook, that's fine. Because today we're going to go over actually graphing those slope-intercept form problems. Okay, so graphing in slope-intercept form. All right, so we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about, okay, what is slope? How do you find the slope? If you look at a graph, if you look at a table, if you're just looking at the equation, that slope-intercept form equation, how do you find the slope? How do you find the y-intercept? And then today I'm going to go through, okay, you have that information, so how do you put it all in your graph? I would say most people find this the easiest way to graph. If it's in that y equals mx plus b format, you really can just look at it and start graphing. So I'm going to have two examples. Let's do y equals 2x plus 4. All right, so this is already in that y equals mx plus b format. So I know that my slope is 2, and my b, right, my y-intercept is 4. Okay? Remember that slope is always the number that goes with the x. All right, don't get confused if the equation is ever like out of order. If this was 4 plus 2x, it would still be 2 for your slope, and then your y-intercept is always that number, just the constant that's not attached to a variable. So when you have that information, I'm going to look over here on my graph paper. Okay, it's that y equals 2x plus 4. We said our slope was 2, and our b was 4. So when we look here at our graph, our starting point is here on this y-intercept. Okay, so here on this graph paper, I'm going to say, okay, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, y-intercept is where it crosses that y-axis. Okay, don't get confused and put it over here on the x-intercept, or on the x-axis, that's your y-intercept. All right, and then you know that your slope is 2. Okay, so let's think back to when we were learning what slope is. All right, remember slope is your rise over run. Okay, it's how much does it go up and down, and how much does it go side to side. Okay, so let's put it in the form of a fraction, because I think that's the easiest for most people to see. So instead of just 2, let's say it's 2. Remember, if it's just a whole number, you're always going to put it over 1. Okay, so that tells us that our rise is 2, and our run is 1. It goes up 2, and it goes right 1. Okay? When your numbers are positive, you're going up and to the right. All right? And I'll show you what to do with a negative number on the next example. But when you have two positive numbers, it tells you go up 1, 2, and right 1. Okay? If you want to be fancy, you can go down 2 and left 1. But I think it's easier to go up 2 and right 1. Okay, I'm going to try and get a straight line, even though I'm here on my computer. Okay, once you have two lines, you can connect those dots. Okay, remember to always get arrows on the end of your line, and there you have it. Okay, it's much quicker for most people to graph these using that slope-intercept form. You get your y-intercept, okay, you think about your slope, and you get the next point, and you're done. Alrighty, so now let's look at a little bit different example. Okay, let's say instead of an equation already in slope-intercept form, what if I gave you one that looked like this? All right, 5x plus 2y is equal to -2. All right. We know that if we want to graph this using slope-intercept form, we need to get it into slope-intercept form first. We need to get it into that y equals mx plus b format. All right, so the way to do that, you have to isolate that y first. Okay, so first thing that you want to do is get rid of this 5x. Okay, you want to move that to the other side of your equation. So you're going to subtract 5x here from both sides. Right, so you're left with 2y is equal to, and again, people always want to do this. They want to say, okay, 2 minus 5 and say, okay, well, that's going to be -7. That's not what you're doing. Remember, these are not like terms. -2 and -5x are not like terms, so you can't combine them. Right, they're just going to be separate. You're going to have -5x and -2. And I would usually try and put the x term before just the constant, just so it's in that right format. It's not wrong. I'm not going to count you wrong if you put -2 and then -5x, but you're less likely to make a mistake if you keep it in that same order. Right? Then you have that that positive 2y right there. You have a coefficient, so you want to get rid of that. You want to divide both sides of your equation by 2. Right? Because those are going to cancel and just leave you with y. Right, you're dividing this whole side of this equation by 2, not just the -5, not just the -2. Both of these are getting divided by 2. All right, so I've got -5 over 2x. All right, there's nothing I can do to simplify, so it's just -5 halves x. And then -2 divided by 2, that's going to leave me with -1. Okay, so be careful with that division. Be careful with your signs, right? That's probably the easiest step to make a mistake on. But now you have that y equals mx plus b. Right? You have your slope, and you have your y-intercept. Okay, your m is -5 halves. Your b is -1. Okay, so let's see what this looks like on our graph. Okay, let's just do that equation in slope-intercept. So -5 halves x minus 1. Move over here a little bit. So I have my slope is -5 halves, and my y-intercept is -1. Right, so I always want to start with that y-intercept. Okay, that's my starting point. So -1 tells me, all right, I am over here. Okay, if this is 0, then we know that's -1. It's always where we cross that y-axis. And then I want to think about my slope. All right, I've got -5 over 2. So if I'm thinking that this is my rise, this is my run. Okay, I usually like to think of these negative slope. Think of your rise as being negative. Instead of going up, the negative tells you you're going to go down. But the run is still positive. You're still going to move right for your x values. Okay, don't try and go down and left, because then you're going to end up with a positive slope. You have to go down and right, all right, in order to have that negative slope. So this is telling you I need to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right 2. So 1, 2. Okay. So once I have that, I pretty much have my line. I'm going to go ahead and draw my line here. I have the 2 points. I'm going to try and draw that out. Right. Make sure I put my arrows on the end. And there you have it. All right, so go ahead and you can get started on today's assignment. All right, you've got a lot of graphing to do. We're going to have a kind of a review assignment to do on Wednesday and Thursday where we're practicing some of this graphing stuff. I know there's a lot of material here in Chapter 3. I'll give you a practice test. And then you guys should be good to go to take that test on Monday and Tuesday of next week. That's either the 9th or the 10th. All right, go ahead and email me if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.